Hi guys, it's Ken here from OKportugal, and today we have a property tour video. Now it's been a while since I've done one of these, and I know that a lot of you have been asking me for them. Now fortunately, Gerhard and Gunda from South Africa and from Germany commissioned me to shoot this next property. They wanted me to film this as a virtual tour so that they could see whether or not the property was suitable for them. They are stuck in lockdown at the moment and they weren't able to come here themselves, so they were very kind and said that I could share this with you guys. I know that you guys are quite interested in looking at more properties in Portugal. This one is in Fundão, so it's in a place called Vale de Prazeres, which is in Central Portugal. And it's a lovely 3-hectare property with a stone ruin, an olive grove, fruit orchard, lots of lovely meadow, lots of water. And yeah, it was a really interesting one to go and look at. Now this video that we did was a very basic virtual tour. It was using a handheld camera, a handheld stabilized camera, and I basically walk giving a point of view as I tour around the property, and it's basically a virtual tour. Now we can do a lot more complicated tours than that. We can do the virtual tour along with bigger cameras showing lots of detail in things like the structures of the buildings, the surrounding area, drone photography. So if you would like a video, if you can't get here right now and you've got a property or a bunch of properties in Central Portugal that you want us to go and film, then let us know. In the description of the video below, I'm going to basically put our Instagram page, our Facebook page, our email address, so you can direct message us or email us and just let us know what sort of properties you're looking at, and we can come up with a quote for you. So anyway, enough talk, let's get into this week's video. Thank you so much Gerhard and Gunda, yeah, I hope you guys like. Hi Gerhard, Ken and Gina here. We're on our way to go and visit this Vale de Prazeres property. It's Saturday the 13th of February 2021. 2:30, and we're just following the estate agent here in a blue car in front. It's a really nice neighborhood so far, this Vale de Prazeres little village. It's got like a pharmacy, bakery, a couple of cafes.
I know people that live in this village and everyone speaks really highly of it.
Yeah. So Gina's got a couple of friends living here and they all like it here. So far so good. It's a beautiful sunny day today. It's almost like spring. We're just going to follow the estate agent. So far we've been driving for about 2 minutes out of the little village. So this now becomes a dirt road, but a very well kept dirt road. And we've had some really bad weather recently. We've had lots of rain and there's lots of, the majority of dirt roads are looking terrible. So this is a very well kept road. As you guys probably already know, some of these roads can get quite gnarly, so but yeah, it looks all right. It looks like they've been filling in any of the potholes on the road with lots of stones and stuff, so people are obviously maintaining this road. Yeah, so this part of the dirt road's in a little bit worse condition, but yeah, keep your right wheel on the highest point of the road. But yeah, as we were saying, it's just, there's been so much rain, it's turned all these roads into like rivers. And unfortunately, they're not in good condition. But this is in good condition considering.
And we have a particularly low car.
Yeah, our Golf is very low. It's like a GT version of a Golf. We're surrounded by quite a lot of pine forest here. The pine forest is growing quite close to the road. I'm not sure how thick the forest is. Obviously it's really, really beautiful, but come summertime, if you're going to be living in the middle of this big pine forest, if you're looking up on the hills here, if all this does go up in flames, then it's going to be quite a scary place to try and evacuate from, I have actually dug a bit of a drainage ditch on the left here, which has got a little river running through it and stopping the rest of the road from getting messed up. Yeah, it's not a bad dirt road.
No, like I say, considering how much rain there's been for the last month, it's actually in very good condition.
Yeah. Okay, so we don't seem to be in that big foresty section anymore. Maybe that was just a little patch. Okay, so the time is 3:25 on Saturday the 13th of February 2021, and we are on the very limit of the property, so the very beginning. This is an access road here, which is all dirt. It runs down here and to where the property is. The house is in the background here. We will get to that in a moment. There is, I just want to point out now, an absolutely stunning cork tree that's probably 20 to 25 meters high. And so we're on the very corner here. It goes down in this direction and it goes down in this direction. So I'm going to make my way down here first. We're going to find our way all the way down and we're going to come back round up to where the house is. So this is the very beginning section here. This is a terrace. We're quite high up. It's 3:30. This is where the sun is now. The sun goes through the sky in this direction. So behind us here is north, south, and then west, east. Okay, so this is a nice big flat terrace. We've got a couple of trees on here. We've got a nice pine here, which is probably about, I don't know, about 8 meters tall. Yes, that's actually a good point. This is a nest of processionary caterpillars. I don't know if you've heard about them, but you definitely don't want your pets or anything coming anywhere close to them. By the looks of it, they're dead. It looks like someone might have sprayed poison on them because they're all dead. So I'm just carrying on here, walking through this terrace. As you can see, it's been looked after. There's no weeds or anything growing on here. So they've kind of kept it nice and clean and clear. This over here is probably wild pig. This is what they do. They come here and they start rooting around with their noses. I can actually see some of their spoor walking through here. Okay, so this is, I'm just going to look back now over this first terrace. So it's a nice space. We're looking towards the north. The house is over here. So this section here, this is the border. And this border is where all these trees are, and it runs all the way down there. I think to where that big tall tree is. So we're just going to go down into the next terrace. This is a much larger one. I'd say it's about twice the size. It's also been kept quite well. There's no weeds or anything growing over it. In the sort of brush line between the terraces, there's lots of cork oaks growing, a little bit of broom. I'm not sure the name of this plant, but I see quite a lot of this in Portugal. I think it's a native species. So we're just going to carry on walking along the perimeter so you can get an idea of the sort of border size. And yeah, let's just look back in this direction again so you can see it's quite a big field area. In the backgrounds we have the mountain range, lots of pine trees and everything. And actually I just want to point out here, at that point there is a 4G mobile tower. I've got full bars of 4G access here. So I think you'll have very good signal. So let's just walk down to this next terrace. It's roughly the same size. The house is just over here. The trees are quite big. I'm noticing there's a few more processionary caterpillars in these pine trees here. So that's something that you need to watch out for if you have cats and dogs, and also for yourself so you don't touch them. Okay, so this is the boundary line just behind us here, and there's actually a beautiful little pond, but this isn't part of the property. Still, you've got a good view of it. Okay, so we're going to carry on in this direction. This is a nice pine tree. I'd say that's a good, I don't know, 15 meters tall. So to my right is the border. We're just tracing the outline of the property really. And I've been told that the border ends here at this point. So this pole here is the boundary. So in the direction that we were walking back from, all the way to this boundary, and now this boundary carries on all the way in the direction of the house. There's all these cork oaks here, They're quite tall, I'd say a good 10-12 meters high. And this terrace is full of citrus trees. I think I counted about 10 or 12 orange trees here. They're looking a little bit yellow, which I think means that they're lacking in iron. But I mean, obviously, you know, they're not that well kept at the moment. So once you start pruning them, and you could potentially feed them, I think you could even hit some nails into the stump, some nails that have got a lot of iron in, to give them some rust, and that should help them. So yeah, this could be quite a nice little garden area if you fixed it up. But yeah, let's get on to the house quickly. Okay, so this is where things get a little bit interesting. This is the house. I've been told that it's unregistered. There's no documentation for it whatsoever. So it's not even registered as pre-1951. They seem to sort of skirt around it a little bit. I'm not sure exactly what it entails. But the complicating thing about this house is the only part that you own is this extension piece going backwards. What we're looking at here with this door on this side of the building belongs to an old man apparently, and he's about 80 years old, and only after he's died will they be interested in selling you this piece. But they say that they wouldn't be able to sell it to anyone else because obviously you'd already own the land and you already own this piece. Furthermore to the complication is this little triangle. So from his front door coming out to about the tree here and around to this line is his. So yeah, I mean, personally for me, that's a bit of a deal breaker, you know. It's just, you know. But yeah, okay, so we've got a really nice olive tree here. I mean, this thing has got to be a couple of 100 years old. It's a beautiful tree. This over here is the part of the house which you would own. And if you look on the roof there, where that's different coloured bit of roof, that's the part in the back that you'll own, and then obviously this extension piece on the front. So if you look at the extension, there's a sort of metal door which is quite bog standard here in Portugal. I'd say the room is about maybe 4 meters by 5 meters. The roof is fibre cement board. There is one concrete beam going across. The rest of them are just wooden poles which aren't in too bad a condition. But obviously fibre cement, you don't really want that in your house. And then going on to the actual building part, this building has got very, very thick walls. Let's see, I hope we can see some more in here. Okay, so this building sort of narrows down to about 2 meters and is probably about 10 meters from the wall back. And then there's this big sort of dividing wall that blocks the building into a tiny little window on the end. So 2 meters by about 10 meters, taking you back to this little room, which I said was about 5 meters by 4 meters. The roofing on the whole thing is fibre cement. Yeah, it's sort of, this is the condition of the walls. But they're very thick. But yeah, my honest opinion on this is it's, you know, you can't buy yourself a property and have half a house and have someone else own the other half. It's not great. But yeah, anyway, let's get on to the rest of the land. So now we're just viewing the house from a different angle. This is the access road or the entrance road. The house is over here, and as you can see, you've got that absolutely beautiful cork oak tree. The boundary of the property is here. So this road kind of denotes the boundary, and it carries on in this direction, and where this green grass is here is also your part. So the road kind of goes around the corner, but you still own all of that. And now you own all of this as well, or you would own all of this as well. So let's walk down this road. It's a very pretty little road. It's got cork oak trees dotted all over the place. We've got little baby ones growing up here. Now, something interesting to note about cork oaks is it's illegal for you to chop them down. So wherever you have one, you can't build anything else. It's there for good. And you've got quite a few of these popping up everywhere. Look, there's a whole bunch. There's one there, one there, one there, one here, all throughout this field. So as I said, all of this greenery to the left of this road is still yours. A couple more of these cork oaks. This tree line here, so where these trees are and where this greenery is your property, going back to where the house is here. So we continue down, and in the front we've got this big old tree here. One of them doesn't look too happy. It's got absolutely no leaves or anything on it. I think this one's probably dead. But these are all cork oaks. So every couple of years you can basically get them, we get all the cork taken off and you can make some money out of that. I'm not really sure on the costs. Okay, so this over here is one of the springs. And you can see the water is coming out there very slowly. There's a little trickle of water coming out. It's covered in sort of green algae, but I think the water underneath is going to be quite clean and clear. This goes down in this direction, and then there's a concrete water tank. We'll go down there in a second. And here's the little road we were talking about. And this is the boundary line, running all the way back up to where you see the big cork oak tree and the house is. So the boundary line goes down here. Carries on in this direction. And in front, we've got an olive grove with about 60 olive trees. He didn't really know exactly. He said it's roughly 60. Gina and I have 80 to 100, and we got 1.7 tons of olives. And these look like quite mature trees, so you could probably have a decent olive harvest off that. Okay, so I'm just going to take us down here to where this water's flowing. So this spring is sort of flowing into like a little bit of a dam area here. And you can actually hear it now already flowing with some force into this concrete tank. So this concrete storage tank is what you'd use, for irrigation and stuff. And you can see it all flowing down there. Nice little tank. Could be a good place to cool off in the summer if you cleaned it up. So you own this little field here, and you own this little field here, so these two terraces. And just where my finger is, there's a little building. It's like a little brick building. That's the corner of the property. It's not actually a building, it's like something that you'd put a pump or something inside, but that doesn't form part of the property. And then as my finger goes down here, that's the boundary again. So the boundary comes back. So now we're going to carry on walking in this direction to where that boundary is. And I just noticed that there's a lot more cork oaks. I mean, look at the size of this one. So this is enormous. Got to be about 20 meters high. Absolutely stunning. Okay, so worth pointing out here is, again, this is the boundary, that green line. And where we are here, there's actually a house built over there. So that house there is your neighbor, and I believe they are from France. They don't live there permanently, it's like a holiday home, but they sort of come and go. And there's another little house over there. Now those houses are accessed through your road. So your road that runs through here, through your actual property, is what those houses use to access. What they've been telling me is, if you like, you could take this road and you could move it all the way to the edge. So if you moved it to the edge there, instead of them going through your property, they would just go on the edge of your property. And yeah. Okay, so let's get back on the tour. So as I was saying, these two fields, so you've got your concrete tank, so we can orientate ourselves. We have that terrace over there. We've got this other terrace that has the little brick building, and where you see the greenery, it comes all the way back here and joins up to where we are now. And in total, the area that we're walking on right now is about 2 hectares. This is the 2 hectare section. There's another 1 hectare that's up in the top there, that's completely wild and overgrown. but we can get there in a moment. So there's some more water here, and this is all flowing through like a little stream. I'm not sure if this is a spring or a stream. It could just be because of the rain, but this is all going down in this direction. It's all going sort of into that field there, the one of the bricks. Okay, so now we see we've got our olive grove, and this olive grove is just full of olives, really nice big thick mature trees. I'd say roughly on a par with what we've got on our farm. Seems relatively well kept. They're a nice shape. You can see that they have been sort of pruned over the years. They've tried to keep the shape down so that it's not too tall. There's quite a lot of water on the ground here. I think this is just from all of the rains and the springs. So let's just have a walk through this olive grove. Now, the border is this here, this green section. And where you see these olive trees, this is your property here. All right, so it extends all the way around, and we're going to go up through this section here. Another really big type of cork oak there. A lot more olive trees. Some lovely bird sounds. Some lovely cooling shade here as well. So bearing in mind that directly behind us here is, well, that's south, behind us is north, and the sun sort of arcs its way across the sky this way. So in the summer you've got a lot of nice tall trees to cool off in. The grass is pretty long here, but there's no like divots and potholes or anything like that, so it seems all right. Now, this is the border. So this extends all the way back in the direction that we were walking, and it extends all the way across, and that's the house, which is the neighboring house. So all of this section here, all the way back in that direction, that's would be all part of your property if you bought this. And then the border runs all the way along here and up, and then it goes all the way into that corner. So you've got all of that. So there's a few more things that I just wanted to point out here. Front, I'm walking towards a bunch of brambles, and all of these brambles are covering another spring, which also runs throughout the year. So it's going to be a little bit difficult to see what's going on here, but there's a spring running through here and going sort of downhill into the neighboring property. And then on this side there's actually a little river running through. So let's see the spring first. Okay, it's difficult to see. Let's try and see if I can get close. But yeah, we have a little spring running through this. You can see it's very green. Lots of water coming through there. Now this isn't your part. So the boundary's up to where this is. Now if we carry on, we get back onto our terrace. And we walk along here, you can see there's more brambles, a lot more greenery. There's probably more water down in this section here, I wouldn't be surprised. There's a bit of a brick wall, and let's look down here. Yes, there is. So here's some more water. So it's very, very clear water here, and then there it gets a lot of sun, so it's got a bit of algae on the top. But it looks like very clean and clear water. And in this direction, we've got a little river. and it's running quite fast. Obviously it's winter now. I believe it doesn't run in the height of summer, but that's quite pretty. So let's just orientate ourselves again quickly. This is the boundary line here. So this is our boundary. Goes all the way across here, down to there, juts out a little bit, and then goes all the way back in that direction towards the house. You can't even see the house from here now. There's a neighbouring property over there, that's a little orange building, and there's a neighbouring property just across here. So if you carry on up, the property ends in a little point just up here to where the end of the green is. And what I've shown you so far is 2 hectares. This part here, if you climb up and over, is completely full. It's completely overgrown and you can't really see much, but it extends for another 1 hectare, almost in like a sort of square shape. So you've got another 1 hectare just up on the top there. And yeah, it's a beautiful place. All right, so let's walk back and let's hug this side of the boundary wall. So my thoughts on this property are, for me it wouldn't work because the house itself, there's a lot of question marks on it. Can you actually build it into something else? Can you habit it? You know, if you only own half of it, how does that work? What they're basically saying is that perhaps you could live in another house. So you could build a little wooden structure or something and live in that, and then that way you don't need planning permission or something like that. But to be honest, I don't think that that's a good idea. You know, even if you live in a wooden house, it might still need planning permission. Also, you know, are the family and friends of this guy who owns the other half going to be coming and visiting? So it's too many unknowns. So this wall runs the whole length of this side of the boundary. So you've got a beautiful old stone wall. Another thing that for me is an issue, obviously, is you've got these neighbours and they're going to be accessing their properties through your road on your property. And so that's not great because, I mean, if they have lots of traffic or lots of friends coming over, if they're going to be driving their cars through, are they going to be walking through as well? So, yeah, it's a bit of an issue, really. It is very pretty, and these are some really nice olive trees, and I love the cork oaks. I mean, let's just have a look quickly. So this house over here, which is the neighbouring one, has got 6 solar panels. You can see the direction that they're pointing means that the sun does that. So that's north, south, and then, what's that? East, west. So there must be good sun exposure here for, you know, if you wanted to set up a solar system. And yeah, let's carry on here. So this is the entrance to the neighbour's house. You can see this is the wall, the entrance to the neighbour's house, and this is their driveway going into our property now. And where this wall is over here now denotes the boundary line of which is still our property. So their entrance really is just, you know, it just accesses straight through. So here's the boundary wall. And it continues along here. And goes up this way. And yeah, let's just look back up at the mountain. So it's relatively clean and clear. Obviously that mountain's covered in pines, so that's a potential fire risk. It is still quite far away. The surrounding land is relatively clean and clear. I mean, obviously it's not perfect. I mean, if you look here. So a lot of these are cork oaks, and cork oaks generally don't burn, or they don't burn very well. So in fires they're actually quite good to have. But obviously eucalyptus and pine is not great. And here we go, some more evidence of wild pigs. Yeah, you know, like another thing I like about this place is it's quite varied. There's lots of different levels. It might be a problem if you want to get yourself a tractor, like a little mini tractor, because it's very uneven. You might end up flipping the thing. It might end up rolling over or something. You're definitely going to want to get some kind of tractor to keep the grass down, so that come summertime you can give the farm a haircut and keep it clean and clear in case there are any fires or anything like that. So here you can see lots of evidence of wild pigs, and it's quite swampy and marshy. And this this olive tree is not very happy about it. It's getting too much water. All right, so now we're heading back up to the house. Again, we've got the boundary on this side, so we've kind of done a perimeter walk around. And we've got lots of water coming down here, but I think this is not a spring. I think this is just rainwater from the last week of torrential rain that we've had. What a beautiful day to be looking at properties. Beautiful weather. So yeah, so perimeter line all the way back up to the house. And what we're going to do is we're just going to walk straight to the access. I'm going to go up to the property access, and then you can see what the driveway coming down looks like. And this field on the right doesn't belong to the property. Now it really is just on the side of the road here. So just on the side of the road is the property boundary. And yeah. I'm just going to film the entrance and then we're finished, yeah. Thank you. Oh, brilliant. So yeah, so this is the driveway. It's in pretty good condition. Regular car coming down here, no problem. 3.5 ton truck, no problem. I think if you want to start getting bigger than that, it will start becoming a bit more complicated. And they probably won't have somewhere to turn around. I think to get out of here, we're going to have to reverse and turn around. But yeah, so we came in from this direction, and I believe you can also go out this direction, and it'll take you to the little town up there, or the little village up there. So pretty access. People can't look in because you've got this nice high wall around. But obviously, once your neighbors start driving down here right past your house, then you start to lose your privacy a bit. So not great. All right, so yeah, beautiful place. A couple of issues. Would I personally buy it? If I was in your position, I'd probably say no. But obviously you guys decide. Would I come and look at it? If you are not that fazed about the fact that someone owns half of the house, I would definitely have a look. It's interesting, it's pretty, but I think it's a deal breaker, not having access to the whole house to rebuild. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this property viewing, and we'll move on to the next one soon. Well, we've reached the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you guys are sitting at home there and you can't make it over here, there's some properties that you want to go and look at, have a look in the description of this video below. I'm putting our Instagram page, our Facebook page, and our email address. And send us a message. Let us know exactly what you're after, what you're looking for. We can do everything from drone videography, drone photography. We've got big cameras to really show detail, and we can make a nice personalized tour for you. Really help you get to understand the properties that you're looking at online before you come all the way down here to go and view them yourselves. Anyway, that's it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed, and see you next time. Ciao.